And welcome. I am Xelite, and this is my channel. And today, I'm going to be telling you about some modern-day serial killers that you may not have heard about yet. So, before we get started, if you would please give this video a thumbs up. As you know, it helps my channel to be seen. And if you would please consider subscribing, that also helps quite a bit. And if you do subscribe, please click that bell so you can be notified when my content goes live. And let's talk about these modern-day serial killers. For regular, normal people who don't talk about serial killers on YouTube, it's probably nice to think that serial killers are a thing of the past. It's easy to believe that since the MVPs like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Charles Manson have passed, and since the case of the Zodiac Killer has, well, maybe not been solved, that we live in a serial killer-free millennium. Sadly, though, that is not actually the case. The FBI states that there's at least 50 serial killers in the United States on any given day. At least, and most of them will never be caught. I do think that coming up we're going to hear more about two possible serial killer suspects, and one of those is the Stockton, California case that I recently did a video on, and another one is from Excelsior Springs, Missouri, and when I get more information on that, I will certainly keep you guys updated. Today we're going to talk about some more recent serial killers, some that haven't been caught, and some that you may not have heard of. And we're going to start with the Long Island serial killer. There is a documentary out there, although I can't think it might be called something about the Long Island serial killer. There is so much information on this case that has, if you've heard about it, that has not come out to the public, that leads all the way down to Florida, all the way up the East Coast, all the way across the Midwest. It's why I talk about how truckers all go through Oklahoma City. It is talked about in that documentary. If you guys look it up, if you're really interested, it is fascinating and an actually much scarier situation than I've seen described in any publication. So let's talk about this one. In 2011, police in New York State were investigating the death of Shannon Gilbert, whose body was discovered near Gilgo Beach on Long Island. But while searching the area, they found a grave filled with the bodies of 4 more women. After a further search was initiated, the bodies unearthed were 6 more at that time, including a child and a man dressed in women's clothing. Police linked some of the body parts found in the grave to unidentified victims whose bodies were found up to miles away, stemming from unsolved crimes dating back to 1996. Most of the victims are believed to be sex workers who advertised on Craigslist, but only a few of them have ever been positively identified. However, among the victims was Melissa Bartholomew, who had disappeared from her home in the Bronx in 2009. Her parents called the police, but the authorities didn't take their concerns seriously until Bartholomew's little sister started getting phone calls from a mysterious number and a man saying, "I killed Melissa." Though there have been some leads, this serial killer is still at large. Our next one is going to be Darren Dion Van. Since Darren Dion Van was arrested in 2014 for the murder of a 19-year-old prostitute, he has confessed to killing at least 6 more women. But it wasn't the first time that he'd been in trouble with the cops. Van had been convicted of aggravated rape in 2009 in Texas, and after serving a total of 5 years, he returned to his home state of Indiana in 2013. And that's where he killed 19-year-old Africa Hardy. He strangled her, and he left her body in the bathtub of a motel room. Van was caught on camera. When the police questioned him, He admitted to killing 6 more women. Soon, he led investigators to bodies that he had left in abandoned buildings around Gary, Indiana. In addition to murder charges, Van faces counts of rape, attempted murder, and criminal confinement, and is facing the death penalty for these crimes. William Devin Howell. In 2015, the remains of 4 people were found behind a Connecticut strip mall. It was the same desolate stretch of land where investigators had discovered 3 other bodies back in 2007. Investigators believe that the deaths were the work of one individual, William Devin Howell, a drifter already in jail for the death of Nilsa Arizmendia, who was last seen getting into a van in 2003. Her blood was later discovered in Howell's 1985 Ford Econoline that he allegedly called his, quote, murder-mobile. And it's there that he allegedly slept next to the body of at least one of his victims. Police were led to Howell after a cellmate told them about his, quote, garden, where he buried his victims who all disappeared in 2003. And that is when Howell was working odd jobs in the New Britain, Connecticut area. Howell pleaded guilty to the manslaughter of Arizmendia in 2007 and is currently serving 15 years in prison. Salvatore Peron, a murderer who was on the loose in Brooklyn killing shopkeepers of Middle Eastern descent while they worked. Police eventually found their man, Salvatore Peron. He was a failing business owner whose wife and children had left him. Police say that Peron stalked the streets of Brooklyn with a, quote, kill kit that he carried around in a black duffel bag that included screwdrivers, switchblades, a bloody 8-inch serrated knife, 3 ladies' blouses, latex gloves, bleach, wire cutters, and a loaded sawed-off rifle. When they searched his home, they found a basement filled with ammunition, a 12-gauge shotgun, and duct tape. It took the jury less than 30 minutes to convict Peron, nicknamed the Son of Sal, of killing 3 Brooklyn shopkeepers. He was sentenced to the maximum sentence, which was 75 years to life in prison. Israel Keyes. In 2011, Israel Keyes, a former soldier who was honorably discharged from the U.S. Army, turned off his cell phone, boarded a plane to Chicago, and then drove a rental car all the way to Vermont, paying cash for all of his expenses to avoid leaving a trail. There, he dug up a, quote, murder kit that he had buried in 2009. Supplies in hand, he picked a couple at random and brutally and meticulously murdered them. In 2012, in Anchorage, Alaska, he murdered 18-year-old Samantha Koenig and tormented her family with texts, photographs, and debit card withdrawals, pretending that she was still alive. He was eventually caught in Texas and sent to Alaska for trial on charges of rape, kidnapping, and murder. He confessed to murdering 4 individuals in Washington state as well as 1 in New York, and is suspected of many more crimes. Keyes committed suicide in his jail cell before he could be convicted. Michael Madison. The bodies of Sherelda Terry, Angela Deskins, and Shatisha Sheely were found wrapped in garbage bags in the East Cleveland neighborhood of Glenville in July of 2013. All 3 had been tortured, mutilated, and strangled, and at least one had been something that rhymes with graped. The bodies were found in close proximity to the home of registered sex offender Michael Madison, who had been convicted in 2002 of attempted rape. Madison was arrested and he confessed. He never expressed remorse for his crimes. When he appeared in court, Madison apparently taunted and smiled at the victims' families. It was too much for one of the victims' fathers, Van Terry, who attacked him from the witness stand. I guess we're supposed to find it in our hearts to forgive this clown, Terry said in a video that went viral. That's when the grieving father noticed Madison smirking at him, and he snapped. He lunged across the courtroom to attack the convict. Madison was sentenced to death for the murders. The Phoenix serial killer. Police in Phoenix, Arizona are on the hunt for a serial killer who has slain 7 people and injured 2, blasting his victims with a semi-automatic shotgun. He apparently picks his victims at random. Victims have been male and female, young and old, but he seems to have targeted the predominantly Latino Maryvale neighborhood. His first victim was a 16-year-old boy, wounded as he walked the city streets on March 17, 2016. The next night, he shot a 21-year-old. In June, the shooter fired over 30 times at the car where 12-year-old Malia Ellis and her mom Stephanie and a family friend, Angela Linner, were sitting outside their home, killing them all. Police have no leads other than a vague description of a suspect that is a light-skinned Latino or a white man in his 20s. Authorities are offering a $30,000 reward to anyone who provides information that leads to the arrest and conviction of this killer. Lonnie David Franklin Jr. Between 1985 and 2007, Lonnie David Franklin Jr. may have killed 25 women and possibly dozens or even hundreds more. He is known as the Grim Sleeper for taking a 14-year break from his murder spree from 1988 to 2002, although it looks like he may not have slept at all. Either way, unlike his more infamous peers like the Hillside Strangler or the Night Stalker, Franklin largely operated outside the media spotlight by targeting women on the fringes of society, including drug addicts and prostitutes. He often dumped their naked bodies in alleys or on the side of the road. When police searched Franklin's home in 2010, they found even more pictures of women naked with their eyes closed, implying that the scope of Franklin's horrendous crime spree could be much larger than previously thought. Franklin was convicted of the murders of 10 women and sentenced to death. Chillicothe, Ohio killer. The small town of Chillicothe, Ohio, has been haunted by the disappearance of 6 women, many of whom are mothers of small children. Charlotte Trago, a young woman, a mother of 2, was the first to disappear, and she has not been seen since her mother dropped her off at her apartment in early May of 2014. A year later, 26-year-old Tiffany Sayer was on her way to the Chillicothe Inn when she disappeared. Her body was discovered wrapped in a sheet in a culvert in a nearby county. 6 women have disappeared in all, though only 4 bodies have been found. Several years on, there are few leads or answers to these cases, and while the families of the victims are confident that the cases are linked, police aren't as certain. Still, they haven't ruled anything out, including the possibility that a serial killer is on the loose. Authorities assembled a task force, which includes members of the FBI, the county sheriff's department, and local authorities, to study the series of tragedies. Suspected killer Neil Falls, who was killed by an escort that he attacked in 2015, may be linked to the crimes, while police believe convicted torturer named Ernest Dollar Bill Moore may have information about the missing 6 women. But as of now, there are no answers for the families of the victims or the terrified town. Vicky Don Jackson, a noted town wallflower. Nikki Jackson may have killed as many as 20 people between December 2000 and February 2001 and attempted 5 more. But her name never earned the household recognition outside of her small town. The North Texas hospital where Jackson worked as a nurse was plagued by a rash of respiratory deaths. But because the patients were all elderly, the deaths were not considered suspicious until administrators realized several vials of mivacurium chloride, a powerful drug used to temporarily paralyze a patient's ability to breathe, had gone missing. Investigators eventually focused on Jackson after the hospital administration realized that she'd been the last one in the dead patient's rooms and that she'd begun saying that she'd take care of unruly hospital guests. Just over 2 months after her killing spree began, a syringe with traces of the drug was found in her garbage, but it took over a year until July 2002 for Jackson to be arrested. In 2006, she pleaded no contest to the charges that she took the lives of 10 people, but she never admitted her guilt. She is now serving a life sentence and has been seeking a new trial. That is it for the day. Thank you for coming to my channel. If you found this topic interesting, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to. Good night.